go.
Okay. I don't expect us to have an audience for a while. All right. I'll just go ahead and start.
That's my bad. Sorry.
No, it's Jack's bad.
There's no bad. It's all good.
Okay.
Everybody gonna laugh tonight. Everybody gonna feel alright. Everybody gonna ramblecast tonight. Everybody gonna dance around. Everybody gonna hit the ground. Everybody gonna ramblecast tonight. Well, you can come on to my place if you want to. You can come and do anything you want to do. Everybody gonna laugh tonight. Everybody gonna feel alright. Everybody gonna ramblecast tonight.
Woo! That was nice.
Yeah.
Really sweet.
Or as Jack would say, Nick, I think that was your best one yet.
That's a 2007 Paul McCartney song.
Yeah.
Well done.
I thought it sounded familiar, but wasn't, I couldn't quite place it.
Yeah. He doesn't get a lot of credit for his post-Wings stuff.
It's usually not a thing where right before the Ramblecast I'm trying to sober up. It's usually at the end. And so tonight we got my wife was making White Russians. It's kind of been it's kind of been a drink of choice around the house, and man, those the first one went down so smooth, but when she made the second one, that's when shit started getting real. So I was trying to take a nap, sober up. I got my coffee ready, so yeah. Thanks, Nick. Yes.
Nick, you are muted, friend.
Played his song and he was like, "That's it. I'm
done.
I'm done, man."
I don't think I've ever had a White Russian.
Really? Oh, they're delicious.
Yeah.
You never gone to the dude side, huh?
No, I should have. Considering I love that movie.
Fun fact about that movie, right? So the movie was made before September 11th, and
oh yes,
well, it was made long before that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
I love this trip. This is good.
Opening scenes, the dude is writing a check for 69 cents on September 11th.
Oh.
As Bush Sr. is playing on in the background. So it's a really interesting wraparound there.
Huh.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Wrap around, reach around.
Reach around.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Little reach around.
Yeah.
And of course, there's all the Saddam Hussein references that occur in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I know that they were making the sequel based around the Jesus. But my thoughts is that they should have had a sequel called The Little Lebowski, based on Lebowski's
kids.
Yeah, based on his kid. And it could be a play off of the fact that in the movie, they actually refer to Little Lebowskis as being this
the kids.
The kids. Yeah. And so I always thought that it could take place during the second invasion of Iraq in the 2004, because that would match up with the timeline.
Yeah, the kid would be roughly 5-6 years old.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then him finding out who his actual father was, and
I'm curious though, how that would come about, because she makes it clear that she just wants his seed.
Right.
She wants the kid. So I wonder if, because he doesn't seem like he cares. He's like, oh, whatever, man.
Yeah.
would the kid just at that point be introduced in his life, or what? Like how would that happen?
Well, clearly the kid's going to be a genius. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like, I would imagine that he would be like some kind of savant, and he would like figure it out and like somehow go out on his own adventure to find out who his real dad is or something. I don't know. I can't write this shit. I'm just saying like it has the potential there. So anyway, I mean, why mess with a good thing? But I've watched that movie I don't know how many times, and
it's funny to me. Like, like I think I never watched that movie all the way through until probably my fourth or fifth attempt, because it was always on TV. And so like I'd catch it like 20 minutes in the middle of the movie, or the very end of it, or whatnot. And I just remember going, I really need to watch this movie. And it's great. I mean, it's definitely weird. It's kind of like Fear and Loathing, which came out roughly about the same time. I love that movie too. Las Vegas, Johnny Depp.
Oh yeah.
And that movie, like the first half is like one movie, and then the second, it kind of gets just weird. The whole movie's weird, but like it just gets weirder as it goes along. And I don't know. I just love that movie too. Anything like that, it was an interesting time to me. Was the late 90s and early 2000s for filmmaking, because like there's a lot of
there's a lot of really great independent movies.
Yeah. A lot of concept movies. A lot of just
It reminds me of movies that were made in the 70s when in the 70s you have this push against the normalcy. Mm-hmm. So you have a lot of like not so happy-go-lucky movies being made in the 70s, where filmmakers were kind of really like, like saying like, well, what if the good guy doesn't end up with the girl? Like, let's go back to this like Casablanca kind of motif, like that kind of pushed against what the expected.
Oh yeah.
So.
I mean, you could even like, I remember 4 years ago when La La Land came out, how many people didn't like that movie because they didn't end up together at the end of the movie. Sorry, spoiler alert, it's been 4 years.
Spoiler.
But like, I was like, if you thought this was a romantic comedy, then you were missing the whole point of the film. I was like, that's not what it was about, and, but I love that whole period. Like, you have Fight Club, Magnolia, Eternal Sunshine, Spotless Mind.
Oh, yeah.
There's even like, no one knows I Heart Huckabees, but I even like that movie. Like, there's a lot of
I Heart Huckabees. That was a good one.
Yeah, like there's a lot. Even like the weird ones, like Requiem for a Dream. Like a lot of just really strange movies, that came out around that period.
What's his name? Who's the guy that did all the Tannenbaums and
Wes Anderson?
Wes Anderson,
I love Wes Anderson
right?
films. Yeah.
Yep. That's kind of like Wes Anderson. That was definitely Wes Anderson's like prime time, right? So when he came out, those flicks, that's back when like Blockbuster was still around. You had to like rush down there to get the VHS copies.
Oh yeah,
he still makes a pretty good. I mean, I felt that Grand Budapest was probably his peak, which was like only not too long ago. But yeah, you're right. Because starting with Rushmore, I mean, no, Bottle Rockets first. I don't really like that as much. But starting with Rushmore, Royal Tenenbaums, Life Aquatic. I even like.
I'm also one of the only people that I know that didn't like Rushmore.
What?
Yeah, I wasn't. I didn't. Again, so I haven't seen it. Since it came out. So I might have to give Rushmore a second chance to go back and check it out. But if you go by my,
I'm probably more with you on that, Chris. Like, you want to go to your MySpace and check it out?
Well, I was gonna say if you go by my TV watching schedule,
I thought you were gonna say.
Oh right, you've got so much on your schedule, isn't it?
I'm probably not gonna get to it anytime soon.
It's
so fucked up, man. Like of all this time that we have at home, I actually have less time to do stupid shit.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's so weird. Everyone's like, well, yeah, what are you doing, man? Why can't you do X, Y, and Z? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm fucking busy. Like, time that I had, like, in between work and doing whatever, and when my kids were either at daycare or at school to allow me to do other stuff, that time is that there's no voids. There's no voids in time whatsoever. So, like, I will say, though, that I'm proud to say that I finally finished Devs.
Yeah,
I mean that was only a week or two out, but still.
But so what'd you think? What did you think of the ending?
I fucking loved it. It was so good.
Let me open up the YouTube here for a second.
Yeah, there's nobody there.
Okay. Because I've been wanting to pick your brain about it forever, and
yeah, man, I really enjoyed it. I thought they did a really really nice job with how they finished it off. Like that could have gone in like 17 different directions.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think they did the right thing.
Because like that's like I said 2 weeks ago when we were talking.
Ooh, excuse me.
You know, like at a midpoint of that episode, that final episode, I just remember going like, "You better not cop out. You better not cop out." Because the entire time you're thinking that's what they're going to do, exactly what they're foreshadowing. Yeah. You're like, "Well, you better not end like that." And then of course it doesn't, and you're like, "Yes." But then the very end though got me. Because I'm glad Jackson here, but because I don't want to spoil him or anything. But
oh wait, Jackson not here? I didn't notice.
All right, yeah.
I kid.
But Jack will be, for everyone out there who's listening by audio, he will be here shortly. But like, because for anyone who wants to watch Dev, fast forward like 5 minutes.
That's fair.
Because she even said, the girl main actress has said that like, hey, this is just a simulation, and now that they're gone, he ordered Alison Pill to put them in the simulation, but they're still just a computer generated prediction of what their lives would be. So they're not really there, but they are there. And that's one of those weird things where I was just kind of confused. It's like, and then like even the person at the very end talking with Alison Pill was like, you think she was like a military person or something like that? Like, because like in a way, this is a way for them to have immortality.
Well, wasn't she the governor or whatever that visited in episode 3?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, dude. So rad. Like I'm a big fan of how the end. It was very Black Mirror at the end.
But they had a little bit more hope than what Black Mirror has.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like I dare I say it was a happy ending.
It was close to a happy ending that you could get. And
yeah,
I love the little infinity necklace that she's wearing.
Yeah.
Like I never noticed that before. I don't know if she's had it on like in the previous episodes, but she's got a little Mobius strip basically necklace that she's wearing. And the name of the company, it's still the same, but like what the company does, like their little tagline is right. Like it has to deal with like quantum, and that was something that he was always against prior to that. So that was like a little like thing like in the background that like if you like picked up on, you're like, oh, okay, like that's interesting, like just the way that they changed and twisted things.
Yeah, I'm curious, because he told Alison Pill to put him in the system. I wonder if they put him in the moment in time before they passed away, and that's why the sign changed, is because it's a predictive model of saying, well, they didn't die, so the company wouldn't have changed. He might have gone into quantum if they hadn't have passed away.
So are you saying in a very Lostian way that he went back into the simulator at that point, but she went back at her last moment, like the morning of?
Yeah, so like basically, because that's how they explain it, like the pencil theory. It's like we can predict it. So basically, when he expired, he knew he was going to. So he told Alison Pill, take my consciousness and put me in this moment in time, basically before the crash happens. Because remember, there's thousands and thousands of options, and they're in the good,
right.
He says. So she put him in the good version of his life at that moment before his family died, and that altered that prediction of what his life could have been from that point on.
So then, technically, he had Alison, what's her name, Pill, put both of them in the same timeline.
In the same timeline, yes, but at different points.
At different points. Yeah. Hence the lost finale theory of like they all convene at the same point, which we saw on screen, but they entered it at different times.
Right.
Very cool show, man. Like overall, like I just want to give it a 2 thumbs up. It's the show that I've been recommending when people are saying, well, what are you watching? I'm like, well, I was watching Devs and I stopped, and now I started watching it. So that's the show. That's like my number 1 recommendation for like a real show. I mean, obviously Dave is fucking phenomenal. But it's a different type of show altogether.
It's got different letters.
Definitely has different letters. Yeah.
And by the way, not to shit on Westworld because Jack's not here, but
I haven't watched it yet.
When you take Devs and the production level value and the amount of money that was sunk into that versus Westworld, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like on a purely sci-fi level, I feel like it goes further with less.
Yeah,
you know,
it really does. Yeah,
and you know, and I've watched the rest of Westworld this season, and
I mean,
not to crap on it, because there was
Yeah.
things that I loved about this season,
yeah,
and the direction that it took.
yeah.
It just like
Yeah.
I didn't connect with it as much as I did with like the first series.
The first season is great.
Yeah, like I'm totally like in that world and all of the concepts that they're dealing with. I think that it gets a little too heady for its own good, where it's kind of like trying to be too meta, where it kind of out metas itself, where you're just kind of like, okay. And it gets to the point where you're like, what am I caring about?
Yeah.
So
I think I'm like, I might be like 2 or 3 episodes back now that I don't even know.
Well, I mean, I like the premise so much of season 1 because it's like, hey, like it's just this fictitious world that people can escape into and live out, you know, this, you know, because everyone would like to live in the Old West, you know, at some point, like, oh, what would it be like to do that? You know, and then it has its natural progression of like, oh, the machines kind of have a soul and they kind of can do this. And then the second one was about them realizing that and trying to get out of that system. So it makes total sense of a continuation. But then this one kind of like quantum leaped into, because I kind of kept waiting for the other shoe to drop of like, oh, they're not really in our world, they're in future world, or they're in some other weird thing. Right. But no, it's like they're in our world. Some of them are. Mm-hmm. And even we are in a simulation of sorts. And you know, so it's like, and now they're trying to break us out of kind of in a way of our prison, but really are they trying to break us out or are they just trying to take over our world? And you're kind of like, what the hell is this shit? Like, what am I watching really? You know, like,
you know, Aaron Paul, who they had cast, like, I love his character. I'm actually a little bit more invested in him, but some of the things that they did with him still, it almost like pushed me back with every episode. Like I was more invested and cared about his character in the first episode than where I was at the last. And to me, that doesn't bode well for the writing or the show when you take a character that I'm like, oh, I like this. Like I like, you know, and then all of the twists and turns get me to a point where I'm just like a mouse in a maze, and I'm just like, okay.
Well, maybe I missed this, you know, because like there's some type of episodes I'm not really paying attention to. I'm just kind of listening to the audio in the background. But like with his character, you know, you see how Rachel Evans' character is kind of like not manipulating him, but using him in a way and like trying to guide him into her plans and all this. And because I'm such a stickler for like how things happen, like why they happen. And so you know why the people on Earth are revolting, you know, but how all of a sudden did they all just buy into like, oh, he's going to be our leader? Like, oh, he never
proved himself.
He never talked to any of these people. All of a sudden he's just like, he's John Connor. And you're like, what the fuck? You know?
So, mild spoilers for
the
season. So, and I don't think we've given away too much. We've kind of danced around some of the general.
Yeah.
So
another show though, because I know I mentioned it, I think last week or week before last, that I did complete 2 days ago, 8 episodes on. Oh, you did? Yeah, you got cut.
No, I didn't.
I thought you did. No.
Me trying to tame it, but
it's the hat is perfectly matted it down to where it doesn't look unwily like mine.
But if I look this way, I'm like Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, you just need that curl, the big curl. Which is it's an Amazon series called Tales from the Loop, and that is Black Mirror. It's not as grim as Black Mirror, but it's the kind of or Twilight Zone. It's the entire every episode you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop, and you're just like, fuck. And even the last episode, like I just kind of was like, oh, this is gonna be good, man. This is what's gonna happen. Like I was clinging to hope, and then you're just like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know. But it's good. I mean, it's a good series too.
And then, I did get back into. It may have been 20 minutes worth, but I did get back into Clone Wars. I'm on season 4. So I was trying to my day is interesting. My days change every on Monday through Friday. My schedule changes. I may have calls early in the morning to having to go do like safety checks at the store, the whole 9. But I've been having a lot of my calls are 15 to 20 minute calls, but I have them from 8 a.m. until noon, And then so every 15 minutes I have a call. I kind of take a 15-minute buffer in between them. So I'm trying to like if I have that time in between them, I can like squeeze in a little bit of the Clone Wars to try and get myself caught back up, or not caught up, just finish the damn show.
Yeah, I think you're really gonna like it from here on, because
I hope so. Yeah, I mean,
in season 2 and season 3, I'd say about half of the episodes in those seasons are kind of filler-esque, you know, like. But 4, 5, and 6, I mean, they kind of start really streamlining it there from there on.
Yeah, we had a underwater battle for Akbar's homeland, which I thought was actually kind of cool. That was a really cool take, and I think I was texting you guys, and I was saying that this is the underwater Naboo or whatever, where the Gungans lived. This is what we needed out of that underwater scene, was this battle. It was pretty cool. It was kind of badass.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that, what you mentioned there, and I thought, we'll just talk to Chris about this later. But to your point, Chris, I felt the same way when I got to those episodes. I was like, oh man, this would have been cool if we saw this on the screen.
Yeah.
And I wonder sometimes if some of the things that George Lucas, because he did have a direct hand in the Clone Wars series.
He tried to unfuck himself with some of the Clone Wars stuff.
I do think that he put in certain things that he always wanted to try.
Yeah.
Well,
That was kind of one of those things that when we got to that, I was like, oh yeah, I could see how he wanted to. I think
the Clone Wars is as close as we're ever going to get to if George Lucas could have made Star Wars in the 70s in this format, what it would have been like, because he always wanted it to be a serial like Flash Gordon, but at the time movies were the major medium, and of course the budget would have been insane to make a TV series, So I think that's why he likes the Clone Wars so much, because he can tell little bitty stories that all will line up together.
There's certain things that they could do in the cartoon format that they could just never do in a live action. I mean, just with the technology, even thinking in terms of underwater and how realistic that might look with people underwater. I mean, like, how do you film that? I mean, that's something that I think even computer animators have always worked on when they're messing with CGI, is like how can you get water to look like what it is. So
Greg says in the chat, who doesn't love Kit Fisto shirtless on an underwater jet ski?
Exactly.
Kit Fisto is an underrated Jedi, man.
And it's the one thing that's always made me mad in Revenge of the Sith is he goes down like a little bitch, because he's such a great Jedi. The other two, you're like, okay, whatever. Kit Fisto should at least had a few lightsabers, but no, Sidious just gets him. And you're like, what the hell? Like
Kit Fisto was a badass son of a bitch. You got the short end of the Lucas stick.
Mace Windu showed up with 2 red shirts and Kit Fisto.
Yeah. It's like shit.
Yeah. It's funny. I remember Dave Filoni catching shit like even early, like at all the Comic-Con panels, because he loves Plo Koon. Plo Koon is like his favorite Jedi. Yeah,
he swings from Plo Koon's nuts, man.
He's in so many episodes, and I'd forgotten. I've been binging it too, Chris. I'm all the way. I'm season 4 as well, and nice. And I'm just like, I forgot how much freaking Plo Koon is in all these episodes. That's very good there.
It's funny because that Star Wars. Another fun story about me not having time to do shit. So I've been playing. I've told you guys before. I played Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, which is like a
mobile app, right?
Mobile app. It's a lot of fun because that's how I know a lot of the characters from the show that I have not fully watched yet, because they're in here. And of course, when I started hearing about them in the books I listened to a few months back, I was like, oh, I know that fucking dude. That's cool, right? But like Plo Koon is like the shittiest character in this game. Like he is fucking useless in this game. No one uses Plo Koon.
I can't wait till you get to Mother Townsend and her storyline, so you can be like, oh, okay, now I know who Mother Townsend is.
No, you should.
Yeah, well, no, I know about Mother Townsend.
Oh, is she? Okay,
she's also in the game. I know her from the game.
Oh,
she's not in the game.
She is in the game.
She's in the game.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah, she's only in 2 episodes. The Night Sisters in season 3. So just the introduction of Savage.
Dude, so hold on. Yeah, so that episode is probably my favorite episode of the Clone Wars yet. with the introduction of Savage, right? And how she brings him back with is it Talia? Was Talia in that episode? Maybe it wasn't Talia.
Talking about Ventress? What are you talking about?
No, Ventress is in there, but there's also another Night Sister. Sorry, this is definitely some barbecue talk here.
By the way, Jesse, Jack is not here. We sacrificed him to the island. That's what the island wanted.
Yeah. He's down there turning the donkey wheel. You know.
He may show
Jack
up later,
will be gone. It's a good thing we're talking about this now because
he would just be like snoring this out.
I showed up this crap. What the hell?
Oh, I hate the barbecue. Boo. Hold on. Let me see. I'm pulling up the character list right now from the game. I'm gonna look at the Night Sisters.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're
Talia.
Yeah,
Talia is like she's a healer in the game. I'm assuming she probably plays.
She's one of the Night Sisters.
Yeah, she's one of the Night Sisters, and then I haven't seen old Daka yet. Is old Daka in the Clone Wars?
Old Daka?
No.
Yeah, probably not. Okay.
Don't know. That sounds like somebody wearing like dock shoes.
So this is old. This is old Daka in the game.
Oh, I don't think she'd be.
No,
no. So she's. I think she's from some of the extended universe stuff, but.
Well, we can't wait for you to catch up to the
yeah, I'm working on it. I'm working on it
because that I mean the last 4 episodes are a movie.
It's a movie. It's a movie.
I don't even know how to refer to them because like my kids and I talk about it all the time, and I'm like, no, the last 4 episodes, it's its own thing. Like it just as I've mentioned to Nick, I really hope that they just release like a movie version where I can just watch all 4 of them like together because they all connect. I mean, it's just like one fluid movement, really. Just broken up by.
Oh, so thanks, Greg. Greg just kind of clarified. So it says Talia is never said by name in the series. Her design is used, which is why I think I recognize her from that episode. So obviously, I mean, all the Night Sisters do resemble each other, and I believe I probably made the association of Talia just because I know her from the game, but not necessarily named in the show. Cool. Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, so Greg, are you in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes as well? The reason why I brought that up, I thought was funny, is that like I've been in this guild for a long time. It's one of those games you're part of a guild and you have to do like daily bullshit to fulfill your guild duties and whatever. I didn't realize that I hadn't logged into this game in 2-3 weeks since being home, and I got kicked out of my guild for inactivity.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
so Greg, if you got any openings in your guild, invite me.
He needs a guild. Ewoks were never mentioned by name either. So in the movie,
nor should that be.
Yeah, I played the Star Wars Commander. You know, Chris. That's the one. Yeah. And they announced, I think 2-3 months ago, that game is going to be going away after 5 years of me playing it. But I was actually kind of happy because the guild I was in, it was just a bunch of ball breakers. I mean, we're like at the top because we've been playing since it started.
A bunch of nerds.
It's a bunch of nerds. But it was one of those like where you're fighting another group, and it was like all these limitations of what you can do and like what troops you can use and what tanks you can use. And you're just like, I'm so tired of having to think about like
tanks or taints.
Tanks too. Yeah, there's definitely some taints in that game. Yeah.
Okay. But just clarifying there. Thanks.
So I was like, oh, glad it's going away. I can finally quit this fucking game.
They've done a. Let me turn the light off.
The only guild I'm in is Guildenstern and Rosencrantz.
Nice.
You've heard of that. Thanks.
They've done a nice job. I don't know if you can see. I'm trying to pull out just a little bit here.
I can see it a little bit. Yeah.
They've done a nice job with like updating a lot of characters. So this is my bounty hunter list here.
Oh,
Bosk is my OP for sure. But just recently, they oh, fuck, I can't do it. Anyways, if you look at the bottom row, they just released The Mandalorian.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of cool. So, but the cool thing about the game, well, we can move on from Star Wars after this, but like, if you're interested, the game is pretty cool because they do a nice job, and they did a nice job during the releases of all the Star Wars movies of trying to keep storyline in the game and some of the characters and some of the missions you have to go on tied into specific, what do you call it? You know, stuff going on in the movies and stuff. So they've done a nice job of keeping that updated. Canon. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. No problem.
What I always thought was messed up about that Night Sisters storyline was that Savage has a brother, Darth Maul, and he also had another brother, which is the one he killed at the sacrificial table.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Well, he's seen.
I've seen that.
He's seen it.
Okay,
but
that was season 3. Matt,
honestly,
I'm on season 4.
I can't remember what shit happens when. I seriously like. There's so much Clone Wars that I'm always like, when did that happen?
Yeah.
When did it happen? Anyway,
dude,
I just thought that was weird. Yeah.
He's a beast.
He's a beast.
Like, he's awesome, and he's completely underrated in this fucking game.
Yeah, I mean, because he's not a Sith. He's just he's like Ventress. He's just a dark acolyte or whatever they call him. And like he.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're gonna see some pretty cool. He has some more story to go, and it's just as good. So yeah,
I'm excited.
I hope that everybody's celebrated their May the 4th, even if you're like a diehard like.
I'm more a May the 5th kind of guy.
I didn't do shit on May the 4th. I'll be honest with you.
My wife
didn't do a goddamn thing.
My wife totally got into it like it was a holiday. Like she made Star Wars pizza themed shapes. Like she made a pizza in the shape of Millennium Falcon and a BB-8 one. Like I was impressed. I was just like, wow. Like we had a Nerf gun battle and lightsaber battles, and she was all about it. I was like,
I like Ralph's subtle protest.
Oh yeah,
not my Star Wars.
Not my Star Wars day. Which is he's right in a way. It's always been May 25th up until like the last 10 years. It's like slowly taken over. That's May 4th.
But okay, so what? Okay, it's May the 25th. You can enjoy, and it's not like, oh, that's just for the Protestants. I only celebrate like my Catholic religious holiday. Whatever. Okay, like just enjoy it for what it is. People are digging in on Star Wars. Like deal with it.
You said your wife got super into it though, huh?
Yeah, because she's not like that. I mean,
no. I'm leading into a conversation, and okay. I wasn't getting at that. Sorry.
Okay.
It came off that way. I apologize.
Sure, she got into it. No, I mean it was just cool that like as a family we could all enjoy it, and the geek side of me. Okay. Side note. The Goldbergs, they had an episode in which they dealt with May the 4th, and Adam Goldberg is celebrating May the 4th back in 1980. And I call bullshit on that.
Bullshit. Oh, yeah. That was never, ever.
So many inaccuracies.
Nobody celebrated May the 4th back in the 80s.
May the 4th, for those in the chat who are questioning what May the 4th is, it's a play on words. It's like May the 4th or May the 4th. May the 4th be with you.
And Revenge of the 5th.
And by the way, if you were a Star Wars fan back in the 80s, you would have celebrated May the 25th, just like Ralph is like a diehard, like purist and says no.
And Life Day.
And Life Day. Those would be
nobody celebrates Life Day.
Yeah, everybody's trying to forget that day. Anyway.
So your wife, the joke that I was going to make was not at your wife's expense. It was actually at my own, as my wife has never seen a Star Wars movie.
Oh, It took my wife a long time.
Yeah, we're still married.
It took my wife a long time. I think it was actually by the sheer fact that I slowly converted all of my children. It took a long time, Chris. I know your daughter's just kind of been like, on the fence. It took a long time for my daughter to come around to being like, Ahsoka's a badass and she is my spirit animal.
Getting there, man. I got to get her into it. Because although my son might get into it before she does, and that's okay.
That was my in. Actually, I got my son first, then converted my daughter, and then slowly took over the whole family. It's a very Machiavellian, Darth Sidious kind of way of taking over. So,
you like your son, or no, mine, or whatever. Mine.
You like your son, mine.
I mean, it's
Lord
awesome.
Vader.
It's awesome that she's got into it, but she still will say stuff like, "Oh, well, we watched Return of the Sith the other day," and I'm like,
okay. Say what?
Yeah. I'm like, it's cool, babe. It's cool.
But it's gonna pop up some rosé right now. We can celebrate.
Okay, I'm not gonna
give you the revenge of my Sith.
I'm not gonna chastise you for saying Return of the Sith. Okay, so what? But, yeah. But anyway, we had a good time, and we did actually watch Revenge of the Sith on Revenge of the 5th, and So
It's better than Revenge of the Nerds, or is it?
I actually like Revenge of the Sith. I mean, it's not the perfect movie, but
I thought you were going to talk about Revenge of the Nerds here, because I think the second one, Nerds in Paradise, is the bomb.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris, just speaking of sequel, prequel type things, I was reading just somebody's random offhand comment on Facebook today about something like that. And they were like, you know what I want? I want a freaking One-Eyed Willie prequel to Goonies. You know? And I was like, I've never thought about that. Like, you know, that's what they were talking about, how they're thinking about rebooting Pirates of the Caribbean now with the redhead from the blue girl in Guardians of the Galaxy. And she's going to be like the new Captain Sparrow, but not really, just another story, you know.
Really?
And that's what someone brought in the comments, was like, you know what movie I want? I want a One-Eyed Willie pirate movie, damn it. You know, and I was like, that's a great idea. I've never thought about that. Like, but
it just shows them ending in like locking themselves into a cave.
Into building a bunch of slides and just fun stuff for kids to do. You know, like, we're gonna make it a music park. We're not gonna try to get out. We're just gonna make a music park inside this cave.
And are they ever going to explain why the fuck a Spanish galleon is in the Pacific Northwest?
Yeah. Don't worry about the history. You know, that was even one of the comments too. It was like, well, you know that there was no like women captains or women pirates back then because it was very, frowned upon. And they're like you said, this is fiction, so get over it. You know.
I do hope. I haven't heard any grumbling since I think I mentioned it last week. But what's his name from the Goldbergs pitched that script to Richard Donner. I haven't heard anything about that. I mean, I don't know if it's just bullshit or whatever, but man, I would love a continuation or a new take on one of my favorite movies of all time, The Goonies. Like, I absolutely fucking love that movie. It's been my favorite movie ever since I was a kid. It was the second or third DVD I bought just because I was poor in college.
You know who else loved that? J.J. Abrams.
Did he?
I'm just making a Rise of Skywalker slide. Because you guys made the comment. Anyway, sorry, I lost it. Everybody that's listening is like, what? What the fuck is Matt drinking?
What happened?
It's coffee. It's coffee. I'm sobering up. So if you're just joining us,
coffee doesn't make you sober. It just makes you a hyper drunk.
True.
Cheers.
You're mixing a depressant and a stimulant together and just causing haywire and misconnections in your brain. It's like drinking a vodka Red Bull. It's terrible for you, but fun.
Speaking of fun, we should probably do a commercial break.
Yeah.
So much fun.
So I've been buying I've just been buying shit, dude. I shouldn't, but I can't stop buying stuff I would never buy if I wasn't home all the time. What did I get this week? I bought a fucking compost tumbler.
Put the bodies in.
No, I'm getting pretty into it, man. This whole gardening thing. I haven't even had a chance to fucking put them outside yet. They're still growing inside because the temperatures haven't regulated themselves up here in the Northeast. # global warming. Right. We might be getting some snow next week, is a rumor I'm hearing, which is fucking terrifying. But I bought a compost tumbler. I put that son of a bitch together yesterday. It was a pain in the ass to put that thing together. But I'm looking forward to making some sweet black golds, as they say in the gardening world, of some compost. Nice. So I just threw a bunch of shit in there yesterday, and in a few weeks, a couple months, I should have some super compost.
It's funny how like your priorities get different as you get older, and like I've been house hunting for 8 months or so around here, and there was one that came up
because they don't move.
Yeah, I know. There was one that I actually saw. It sold like the same day it went up, but it had 6 elevated gardening beds, and I was like, if I'd have been in my late to mid 20s, I'd have been like, "The fuck am I gonna do with that shit?" But now I'm like, "Oh, they got gardening stuff!" Like,
Yeah, dude, it's great. It's great. So
you're in Colorado, man. You can grow it, dude.
Yeah.
Well, you can grow it here too.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well,
it snows lighter too, though.
Just stop it, guys. Just stop.
whatever. It's not my fault you live. Not my fault you live in Pennsville. But I'll tell you though, the whole gardening thing's been fun. I haven't even brought them outside yet. They're growing in my room in little seedling cups. But I didn't think it was going to sprout, but I've got some cantaloupe seedlings that are sprouting, which is kind of cool. So I might grow some cantaloupe.
By the way, since you're getting into composting, I made the mistake a couple years back when we had thrown out some melon seeds, like some acorn melon seeds, acorn squash. Sorry, melon. But I had thrown them in the composter, right? Didn't think anything about it. Used the compost the next year. In basically gardening around the house. You take the compost out, you use it when you're planting stuff, and all of a sudden all of this acorn squash just grows up randomly around our yard.
Really?
Yeah, because the seeds were in there and it's just germinating, ready to go in that compost.
Well, it means it wasn't hot enough in your composter,
right? Until it's moved.
Yeah. Well, but you're still not supposed to put any kind of seeds in there because it can survive. So
yeah,
I mean, if you put it in the fall, and essentially by this time spring rolls around, it's hot enough to keep them alive or something like that because it didn't compost them down. So a lot of times what'll happen is that you got a green brown kind of mixture, and so over winter you don't have enough brown going in, but you're throwing all of your table scraps in there and what have you. And then by the time sometime in the spring, we'll take all of the leaves that we used on our beds, because you can kind of put leaves down as a little ground cover on all of the beds of your flowers and plants. Take them all off in the spring, throw them in that composter, and that stuff just burns it just ignites because you get the right mixture going.
Yeah, you're looking for a 2/3 to 1/3 mix. I think is the right mix. You want 2 parts brown, 1 part green, as they call it.
This is Ramblecast gardening.
Exactly. Yeah. I was just saying, people are tuning in and are like,
what the fuck happened to these guys?
They went from Star Wars to gardening.
This is a combination of lockdown at home with trying to do things that are sustainable, to reducing impact on the landfills and the environment, and turning 40.
Nick's talking about buying a house with raised beds.
So is it weird if I'm going to be using compost that was made of cantaloupe rinds to then feed the dirt that's going to be growing cantaloupes? Is that kind of like Soylent Green for cantaloupes?
Like cannibalism, kind of?
Yeah.
No, not at all. It's not like you're grinding up bodies in there. By the way, don't put any crap in there. And a fun thing to try, which we did, is all of this stuff that says compostable. This is biodegradable. You throw that shit in your composter, and then 6 months later, you're like, this shit's not breaking down.
Yeah.
You're like, how really biodegradable is this crap?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is that, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, I never thought two thoughts about doing this, and then I started going down this rabbit hole of the whole gardening bit, and then now I'm fucking getting into it. This is what I do. I find something and I get super hyper into it, and then I just go balls to the walls for a good few months, and then I'll come December I'll probably forget that I even fucking own one.
Yeah.
Hey Jack.
How's it going?
Welcome to Compost Cast.
Yeah, we're basically doing a Martha Stewart podcast right now.
Okay, because I just want to say, Nick.
Yeah.
Best song you ever started with.
Yes. Yes. We may have picked up that line for you. But
I didn't do a song.
I think that was actually the best joke Jack ever laid down.
Pretty solid. Pretty solid.
It was a pretty good song.
I could have probably been here about 25 minutes ago because Survivor, 2 hours of mostly commercials, and then the last 25 minutes, a recap of the season.
So was it the final season finale or whatever?
No, next week is the...
Oh, jeez. How long is this fucking shit?
And next week is 3 hours.
What?
Seriously?
3 hours.
Yeah,
dude, that's just the networks running out of fucking shit to do because everything is shut down.
Well, that's how they always do it. But what I would have done if I was CBS, I would have said, okay, we're not having any content. I said, let's not have a 2-hour episode tonight. Let's have an hour next week, an hour. I would have dragged this into
June.
Yeah.
June.
I really thought those freaking fire tokens would really play a part this season, and they've basically been nothing. And you're like, well, what the hell?
Well, it could pay off for someone from Edge of Extinction.
I know, but like you really thought like, oh, this is really going to be some kind of huge power play. Like, the more they collect and all this, and like it's really not been as what I thought it was going to be. Because I was kind of hoping, like Rob and his wife, because they're basically a pair, that he would have stayed in the game a lot longer, and she could have been like feeding him stuff, secretly. And it's like, this could be really a game changer if you had an alliance and someone on the other side. And it was like, and then just
if he could have stayed in the game, but they were probably smart to get him out.
Yeah. 3-hour finale.
Yeah, so Jack, you missed some good stuff. We had some good Owen and Baru's barbecue talk, which
that's nice.
You missed unfortunately.
That's nice.
He always misses the barbecue for some reason.
I know, and then I wouldn't say he misses it, but he missed it. And then we jumped into a little bit of gardening and composting talk.
Nice.
Because I was saying how I have just. Being locked down, I keep buying weird shit that I wouldn't buy if I wasn't locked down. All of which I did buy through jayandjack.com/Amazon. However,
there you
go. Too should shop all of your Amazon needs at jayandjack.com/Amazon. Expect some shipping delays for some non-essential items, but if you're going to buy it from jayandjack.com/Amazon.
Well, Cindy saw your planner and she wanted me to build it, but now she saw this thing on Facebook. They're like $9 for these rubber round things.
Yeah, I saw those too, but
I told her, I said, I don't know about that. I go, what do you do with them when the winter comes? Yeah, just
bend over and I'll show you.
So I was actually again. So with me, I've gotten super hyper into this gardening bullshit, and I found a super cute girl on YouTube who does a great series. I've subscribed to her channel about gardening because she's not hard to look at and she can grow some serious shit. Forgot her name though. I'll give it to you. I was watching another video of this dude who kind of was giving a review of those gardening beds, like those rubber ones you just kind of fill with dirt and they stand by themselves. He says they serve a purpose, but overall they suck.
Yeah, I said it's only $9. How good could they be? Yeah, you read the private chat.
Yeah, it's not there.
Sorry. Yeah, people.
I just told Cindy, I don't know. I could build one probably cheaper than $9. I go, it's just that what I was looking at today, because since did all this construction, we're having tons of snakes, and I've never seen. We've always had copperhead, but I've never seen an adult copperhead. Well, last Friday I saw an adult copperhead. Tried to get it and he got away. The
adult ones aren't as dangerous. There's the young ones that are dangerous.
I know, but where there's so it's like, oh my! So I was looking at these solar things that are supposed to chase the snakes away. So I don't know. I was on Amazon today looking at them, going, okay, because I bought mothballs because I was always told mothballs. I found out that's a Southern myth. The mothball, all it does is make the surroundings of your house stink, which my wife kept saying, I hate these mothballs, the house stinks. So we had a snake skin on the porch today. And she's like, well, how did that happen? There's mothballs. I go, I don't know. So I looked it up. I go, oh, I guess it's just a myth. But everyone's always told me, get mothballs. I said, well, their house can stink for about a month because I'm not going to go around picking them up.
Yeah. I don't know anything to do about copperheads. Like I know, like worker bees.
Fucking run is what I would do. I wouldn't go near them.
No, of course not.
Snakes and spiders are the two worst things in the world, and I want nothing to do with them.
What about those murder wasps or hornets? Sorry,
dude, those things are awesome. Those things are little badasses. So I actually posted. I think I put it on Twitter or Facebook or one, or maybe even both. Who knows? I was just wondering what's the over under and how long it's going to take. Our fearless leader and his followers to refer to them as China hornets.
Well, I remember when killer bees came out. and you had Saturday Night Live. Oh, you kids probably don't remember this, but they had Saturday Night Live.
On. Yes, we know.
I'm not talking about you. You're the same age as me. But I'm talking about the younger guys on the podcast. But they had, you remember Saturday Night Live where they had John Belushi, the Killer Bees, and they'd be bandit. But then they had all these movies out there. You know, the Killer Bees and they, you know, I don't know anybody that got killed by a killer bee.
I just got this letter in the mail from Nick. He said, "Shut the fuck up."
Get off. Okay, Matt. I'll get off your lawn.
Outstanding. That was outstanding.
You fucking old people are so cranky. I only have a short time.
Like this. Oh, you only have a short time?
Well, I got to record Survivor after this.
Oh, I thought you already had recorded.
I thought.
No, I haven't even started yet.
Oh,
okay. That's all right. We're about 50, almost an hour in.
Well, before Jack has to go, then
yes,
I wanted to talk that's sports related. So Chris was saying earlier, you know, he's at home. He's at home, but he doesn't have time to do stuff that he wants to do. Well, yesterday and today, I've been building a map, so I don't have to like really concentrate on it. I just kind of do it, and I can have the TV on. And I binged watched all 6 episodes. There's going to be 10 total of the ESPN series, The Last Dance, about the Bulls Magic.
I haven't watched it yet, but no, I've heard.
It's so freaking good. I mean, I don't even care about basketball, but like I was like, it brought back so many memories of the late '80s and early '90s, you know, because they did a really good job of because it's really focused on the '97-'98 season, but each episode is a flashback to something in the past, and then usually each episode is dedicated to one of the players, you know. But that they always bring it back to Jordan in some way.
Well, I know that Isaiah Thomas had it because he was left off the Olympic team, mainly because they think that Jordan.
They blame Jordan
blackballed him,
but it wasn't just Jordan. It was a lot of them.
Well, because a lot of people didn't like Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, none of them did because they do a really good job of explaining that. They leave out some of the stuff early on, like. Because Jordan's very first, this is not in the show, but Jordan's very first All-Star game, Isaiah didn't like him even then, and like they basically made it a point that we're never going to pass the ball to Jordan,
right?
So that pissed Jordan off to the point where he just despised everyone on that team, and that's the way he was though. He was so driven. I was like, I'm going to show you, I'm going to beat your ass, and stuff like that's what drove him to be who he is though. And but you see that in '89 and '90, you know, the Pistons just beating them, and and then the unsportsmanlike in '91 when the Bulls finally did beat the Pistons, and the Pistons didn't even shake their hands and all this, and it was just a lot of resentment. But like they've said that, like I've read a couple articles afterwards and some other things that it wasn't just Jordan, it was Magic Johnson, it was Pippen, it was also Karl Malone, like a lot of, and Bird as well. Like they did not like Isaiah Thomas.
Well, basketball back then was a lot more physical.
Yeah, that's how I've always known basketball is to be physical.
I mean, now you can't breathe on. Well, obviously you can't breathe on anybody right now, but you can't touch anybody in basketball now. But you look at how Lambeer used to play.
Yeah,
and Kevin McHale and some of these guys, how they played,
throwing elbows and knocking you down, and because that's what they talk. I think it's episode 3. I think they talk about what the Pistons defense was just for Jordan. And I forget what they call it. It's like Jordan something. And it was basically, like if he even gets in the air, you knock him on his ass. I mean, it was just every time. It was like it's basically you're laying him out like a linebacker.
The Bill Lambeer School of Basketball.
Yeah, and it was like, because like they say, like once he got airborne, you couldn't stop him. So like you had to stop him before he jumped.
See, that's the difference between like you have Wayne Gretzky where people would try that, but then Edmonton would have their goons go after whoever did that, and guys knew that, so they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't go after Gretzky. Yeah, they wouldn't go after Gretzky. It's like,
do you remember that cartoon where they had like Jordan, Gretzky, and
yes, something All Stars.
Yeah. What was it? Who's the other?
Space Jam?
Was it Bo?
Bo Jackson?
Yeah, Bo Jackson. Didn't they have him on there too?
Well, because it was Bo knows, right?
Right.
Pro Stars. Okay.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that cartoon, but I remember Gretzky and I'm trying to remember the other person that was
pulling it up right now. So Pro Stars was
Bo Jackson, Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky.
Bo Jackson. Yep, those are the 3.
Very short lived.
I gotta go.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah, they're ready. They're actually ready to record. So,
all right, Jack.
If you're still recording when I come back, then I'll check.
Well, I doubt we'll still be recording, but I just
3 of you will.
Okay, never mind. Peace out,
Bye,
Jack.
Jack.
But I'll see you guys next week.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Best show ever, Jack.
It is. Yeah, I just want to say about I didn't talk about last week was Bad Boys, the third movie.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was the worst pile of crap I ever saw in my life.
It's not that good. Yeah.
I said, "Wow, are we just phoning it in? Are we just collecting a paycheck? What the hell? What the hell? The stupid CGI and I go, no plot. It's just dumb, stupid fucking movie. Will Smith. I'm glad I didn't go to the theater and see it because I would have been pissed.
Yeah.
When was the last time Will Smith made a good movie?
Probably I Am Legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was a good one.
I saw that in IMAX.
Also, the Ben Affleck movie that wasn't bad. He plays a alcoholic.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
He's a basketball coach, plays the alcoholic.
Yeah.
And then TV.
Yeah.
I finally got my wife to watch Mindhunters, who she kept fighting me on.
Oh, good. Did she like it?
We watched it in 3 days.
Did she realize that what's his name from Mindhunter is the Kristoff from Frozen?
I don't know.
Yeah. Fucks you up when you realize who that is. You're like, oh my God, it's Kristoff.
Who's Kristoff? I've never seen Frozen, so I don't know.
Oh, really? Kristoff is the guy who's got Sven the reindeer.
Oh wait, no, that's Little Mermaid.
But which guy from
The main character.
No. Oh, you mean Holden?
Yes.
Really?
Oh,
Yep. He's the voice of Kristoff. And once you realize that, you can't get out of your head, so don't finish the series first and then look at it and then you're like, oh, okay.
Well, I'd already seen it, so but I watched it again, and she's asking me. I go, it's like season 1. I go, it's been 3 or 4 years since that's been on. I go, I don't remember. Just watch it and be quiet.
Yeah, and then it looks like that next season of that show is in development hell. It has been perpetually held back.
All the actors have been released from their contracts.
Yeah.
I figure they come back and get the Burger King killer and get him, and because they always show clips of it.
I think they'll finish it out at some point. Hopefully, I would like to see it finished.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of. Oh, that's that whole thing from Frozen. Sorry, that was
great show with you guys. Great show, kids.
What?
Yeah, you're supposed to be on the Survivor podcast.
We've been
right
waiting.
now. And
they won't stop talking. Did I say I have to go?
Jack, you have not shut up for the last 10 minutes.
He didn't want to go.
I said I have to go. I
kept talking about like Saturday morning cartoons.
What's with the little boy haircut, Jay?
Yeah.
I didn't put anything in my hair today.
But it's like he should be on Mindhunters. He looks like one of those
I
killers.
Yeah, he does look like a serial killer, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does a little bit.
Listen, don't be jealous, Jack, Nick.
Ooh, Franklin barbecue. I dig
Look,
it.
I was told there
He
was
loves that shirt.
pee before we started, and I was here ready and
I had a
waiting.
tight ship ready to go, Jack.
I'm not used to you guys being ready.
You should need some of those. You need some of those. If you're that tight, you should need some of those rubber
I
round
said I
things.
gotta go, and they were like, "Do you have to leave?
Oh, bullshit.
Don't leave us. Don't leave us. We're afraid."
All of you.
I had nothing to do with this. I mean,
We're doing the Owen and Bruce tomorrow.
yes.
Yep.
Austin, you're probably not there because
He's so far behind, and
It'll be me, Matt, you, and Colin.
I look forward to chatting with you all tomorrow.
What about me?
You're
Yeah,
coming.
you're
Come
coming
to the barbecue.
We'll see. I have to if I'm in a good spot editing. Well, wait, I'm not really doing editing because we had a live show.
I did the show. I did Owen Brews once. I did Owen Brews once, and it really ruined my podcasting career. It's been it's like you make that bad movie like I was saying about Will Smith. It's like people go, "Oh, he did an Owen Brews barbecue one time."
just stretch down, just like Survivor.
I plugged Owen and Brews big time on Geek Dad Life. So
Oh, thanks.
a lot of hits.
Appreciate that.
He put a picture up of
put a
your
picture and
artwork,
Yeah,
like
you did of the artwork.
real big.
And I put a link in my description.
What? Oh my gosh, this is awesome.
Well, all the stops.
Maybe that'll help. Maybe I'll get a bounce back in my career. Maybe because it won't be.
I think you need to bounce over to Survivor because this guy's gonna like.
Well, I did say I did Owen Brews just for the money.
You did.
For the credits. Yeah.
Also,
thanks for the download, Jack.
But the last 4 episodes of Clone Wars is arguably some of the best Star Wars of all Star Wars.
See, that's the unanimous.
I could not agree more on that.
Yep.
I was thinking like Jack, like I'd maybe like come over to the house and then watch those 4 episodes with you. But I was like, will he get all of this? But I don't know. I feel like maybe
Jay, I'm making my way back. So I'm currently on season 4, and I've started squeezing it into my day.
So there's 4 seasons of Clone Wars. I'm not gonna watch.
Nope.
There's
More than that.
There's 5,
sweetie.
You just talked about watching
complete
Mindhunters in three days. Like, I mean,
because that's a really good show.
Clone Wars is
No, what show did you just watch in 3 days?
Mindhunters?
Oh, Mindhunters.
What's that? Is that the one with?
That's the one with Jonathan Groff.
Oh, you haven't seen it, Jay? You need to watch it. It's really good.
No, I've watched it.
It's with Christoph. We're just talking about how Christoph is the lead character.
Oh, see, I know him as King George from Hamilton, but
I know him as Jonathan Groff.
I watched Hamilton.
I only know him from Holden.
Oh yes, when I go to see Hamilton in my Lexus, that's why I get to see him.
He looks like a guy I used to ref with. I mean, he's almost like spot on with a guy I used to ref with.
actually, I didn't take a Lexus. I think we flew into Chicago to see Hamilton.
Oh, I took my my private jet over to see Hamilton.
Hamilton.
Yes,
See in Chicago.
Duel.
into the Windy City, but the wind stopped because we were there.
The
I have
river
so
was,
much influence on the city. It's so great.
the river was green with envy.
Oh God! All right, gentlemen, have a good show. Jack,
I gotta go.
All right, Jack, get out of here.
Fine, you stayed your hour.
You think Matt's a bad producer? I gotta.
Oh, I just got this letter for you.
He didn't even let you get it off. That's awesome.
I know.
You know, Chris,
Man,
the Lexus voice is borderline Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. You're like, where he's, on the phone is like, you've reached the whatever.
mortuary.
That's it. Yep.
I was messing around with some voices earlier today. I was with my son and my daughter, and I think I might have to get into doing some voiceover work. I think I can pull it off.
That was my dream job for years. When I moved to LA, I looked up a few coaches and talent agencies. And you're paying like $1,000 a month, and it's just like, shit, I can't afford that.
Yeah. It was funny because during a couple of my meetings, I was plugging some new content that we have that's posting on our streaming platform, and I was reading the synopsises, and I was trying to do it in like my movie voice, and I did a few of them, and I had a couple of my employees like, dude, you want to do my outgoing voicemail message? Like, yeah, sure, why not? But here's the thing. Like, I think I need to put practice and time into it, because like when I'm wrestling with the kids and just fucking around, like I can come up with a voice and then I forget it.
Oh yeah, totally.
And I can't go back and recall it. I won't be able to do it. So I have to like build like a mental Rolodex of voices to do that. I mean, the whole deeper voice, like the movie style voice, that it's not a huge change for me, because this is my talking voice. I can very simply just jump into in a world, right? And that's just that's an easy thing. That's me copying what's his nuts from the movie trailers. But I think I might try and practice, do some voices.
Yeah, when you think of them, you just need to, like we're doing now, set up the mic, do a quick recording of like some line. And what you're supposed to do, like to make an audition tape, is basically just find any kind of dialogue, and then each sentence change the voice into something else. But you're still reading the page, But yeah, like being, like same as you having kids and Matt having kids too. Like, you're always the bad guy most of the time. And so when I was playing my nephew,
I'll get you.
That's all I would do is villains voices, So I'll
get you next time, Gadget.
Exactly. That's what I would, because I did, like, I forget his name, but he's in Return of the King. He's one of the bad, so it's like, fear. Like same thing. Like,
good one. That was good.
The city of fear.
Like you just do that, and then I would, to catch a fish, the juice is sweet. Like so you just
dude, not bad, man.
So, like,
that's pretty solid.
Any kind of voice, you just do them. They're fun.
Yeah, I can do the whole deep voice thing comes easy to me. I have a deeper voice, and it's easier to do that. I love doing the Vader or the Emperor Palpatine, right? That's a fun one to do. Mm-hmm. And you can say, Lord Vader, rise.
Oh, he is creepy as fucking that.
I know, right? But it's fun, man. Like the whole voice thing it's a good time. It's funny because my people I work with, they know that I do some like podcasting and stuff. So, but like now that we're doing everything is 100% WebEx, right? So now they see me on the first week they saw me on WebEx. This is what they see. The same thing you're seeing right now. They're like, holy shit, you got a real mic, don't you there, huh? I'm like, yeah, I mean, this is nowhere near like a studio, like quality, like, professional audio production mic, but this is like a, in total, probably like $150 setup, but people pay hundreds of dollars alone just for the microphone. But people are like, oh, wow, you're really into this shit. I'm like, yeah, I am.
You're like a geek about this stuff.
You're like an audio nerd.
I will say this though, Chris. The older your kids get, the more out of touch you get with those voices. Because
I know
I would read all the time to my kids, and read the voices, and I would read in different voices for them. My daughter would get really annoyed because I would intentionally read in a different voice, like a robot voice, and she would be like, "No, don't do it!" Like she'd get mad. But like I think it was about a year ago, I was reading the Solo book. We were like reading that together, and I would do a Lando voice, and I would do a Dryden Voss voice, and and I was really getting into like the different, trying to. It's really hard to do.
Can I hear your Lando voice?
No,
come on! I want to hear.
No, I'm not. I can't do it on.
I want to
hear Matt be sexy. Like, you truly belong here amongst us.
I have to. I can't do that. Laughing. Like it's like peeing next to somebody in the stall.
You truly belong here amongst the clouds.
This deal's getting worse all the time.
And another thing too, I've actually been thinking about doing is that anybody who has kids, you realize like your kids' voices change so quickly. Right. Like I've seen like videos of my daughter when she was young, and I was like, oh my God, that cute little peanut voice. Like now she's just fucking annoying. No, I kid. I love you if you're around. But it's funny, man, like how like their voices do change. So it's like any advice I have to any new parents out there or people who have, kids, our kids' age is that record them as much as you can.
Oh yeah.
Right. Record them because it's those videos that pop up in like the time hop, they pop up in like Facebook, whatever the fuck memories they call it. I don't know what it is. Those are the videos that always consistently put a smile on my face.
And it's so easy to do a voice memo on a phone nowadays. When my daughter was in utero, basically my wife was pregnant. And
it's a great album, by the way.
It is.
We had to go into to get the ultrasound, and we were finding out I don't think we were at the point of finding out the sex yet, but it was like the baby's first heartbeat, right? So we're going in there, and I had like a little like kind of handheld recorder, because we at that time, forget cell phones, we just didn't have that on our cell phones at the time, and so I'm recording it. And I ran across this little recorder just the other day, and it was like so amazing to kind of go back and hear that heartbeat. And you can even hear the woman say, are you recording this? You're not allowed to bring any recording devices.
What?
Yeah.
That was that fee.
Yeah.
No, bitch, do your job.
It's my job. I'm just making money off of this.
And then the very next like recording is just me like muffled, like recording, like it's
just like
yeah.
I was waiting for you like to hear like next thing you know a sumo crash comes in and you hear breathe in the air.
We're gonna go into some Pink Floyd shit now.
That's what I'm saying. Like you said, you start with a heartbeat. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's just yeah.
Are they doing a live Survivor podcast right now?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. No, they should.
I think they were just doing.
We don't have the link. We don't have the link anyway, but it would be cool if we
entire
crashed them.
participants list just.
Oh, it just stopped as soon as they left. It just stopped. Yeah.
Actually, we were at 10, and I think we're only down 1. So.
Oh, we haven't had any comments in a while. So, we have 9 watching. So,
I think we lost.
Okay.
Just everybody that was here for Jack. They were just like, I'm out. These guys, they're the 3 stupid guys. So, anything else you guys have been watching or doing during the quarantina? So,
you know what? Another stupid bullshit thing I bought. I bought a bagging system for my lawnmower. I just ordered it tonight. I'm gonna go pick it up tomorrow.
To catch your grass?
To catch the grass.
You're one of those people.
Well, no, here's the thing. And here's the problem. So I feel like what I'm going to do is I'm going to alternate, because for the last year and a half, like last summer, I was here in the house I'm living at now. I was mulching. And I got too much and it just killed areas of my yard. Absolutely just fucking destroyed my yard. So I decided I'm going to get like a bagger and a system there. So that helps, because I have a ton of pine trees that kind of are the perimeter of my property. And pine needles are the fucking bane of my existence, especially with anyone who has it. You have a house and you have a yard that's got pine needles in it. It just destroys your land. So I'm going to use it to be a lazy no-raker.
Reminds me of my favorite line from It's a Wonderful Life, when Jimmy Stewart goes over to Mary's house after she's back from college, and she's like clearly into him, and he's just like, I give 2 fucks about you. And he sits down next to her and he's like, see, it still smells like pine needles around here. It's like so random. I'm just like, what are you doing, dude? And then, of course, they have that romantic part where he shakes her and he's like, I don't want any ground floors and I don't want any bullshit, and he's just like so pissed at her. He's about ready to smack her, and Mary's mom's above the stairs and she's like, oh, Mary. And then they kiss and you're just like, what the fuck was going on in the 30s and 40s? Like, you could just have an abusive relationship and fall in love. So
speaking of random, I'm just checking out the chat, and Randy in the chat was mentioning how he just finished watching Band of Brothers.
Is this his first viewing, or just
it was his great and humbling?
Yeah,
it sounds like being great and humbling. He's probably discovering this, and this is his first time watching it. But he then continues on saying, now I started Lilyhammer. Dude, I forgot about that show. Lilyhammer is one of the funniest and best Netflix series. And if my memory serves, I believe Lilyhammer was Netflix's first Netflix original movie or series. I think that was like their introduction into making the Netflix original series. But I think they bought the rights from the production company, and they went through it. It stars Steven Van Zandt of Sopranos / E Street Band fame, who is he was in the mafia, and he goes into a witness protection program. But in that part of that program, it means he has to move to Lillehammer, Norway, or Sweden.
Oh, okay.
Is it Norway or Sweden? I can't remember.
It's Norway.
What's funny about that show is he escapes, the authorities and the rival mob bosses in New York, I think, and moves to Lillehammer and essentially starts his own mob in Lillehammer. It's actually a really, really good show. I think it had 2 seasons, if maybe not 3. I don't even know, but very good show.
Just looking up stuff about it, so I will try not to get too far into it. But it says Lilyhammer is Netflix's first ever Netflix original.
Is it?
Sort of. The cross production between Netflix and Norway station NRK1 was among the first of its kind, and really was the spark of what has driven many Netflix series since.
Nice. Yeah.
We're going
recommend. Huge recommend. It was so good.
Now, do we think we recommend The Pacific, since he hasn't seen? He just now watched Band of Brothers. Do we recommend The Pacific? Because it was one of those things that it was really a letdown after watching Band of Brothers. to me. I think Jack kind of agrees with that too. I don't know if you guys saw the Pacific or not.
I have not seen the Pacific.
Well, the Pacific, because Band of Brothers came out 2000, the Pacific came out 2010, and because they wanted to do the other theater, but whereas in Band of Brothers is following one company throughout for the European theater, the Pacific is kind of like 4 different stories and trying to make them all interweave, and it just didn't quite work the same to me. But it's still good. It's just not, you don't get the attachment to the characters that you did in Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
I'm looking
I just don't remember the Pacific. I guess that's probably the best way to describe it. Like, I've seen it. I remember the hype around it when it first came out, and I don't remember it.
One of the things that's really going to throw you off, though, is if you go back and watch it now, because I remember as soon as I saw Mr. Robot and of course Bohemian Rhapsody, I knew that guy from the Pacific because he's in it. Along with the kid from Radio Flyer, and you're like, good gosh, like, and then you look back now and you're like, wow, that's so weird. Like, the kid from Jurassic Park 2 is, he's in it too. But you're just like, wow, look at him grown up. Of course, they're our age, but it's just like different when you're used to a child actor and you see him grow up.
How the fuck have we not talked about the news that came out yesterday with the new CBS series being written and drafted right now of a series based on Tiger King? Oh,
that's one of those things where, like, as soon as I immediately saw that, I went, Nick Cage needs to say no to some stuff, man.
No, dude. Nick Cage needs to say yes to this role because that's going to be phenomenal.
No, I think it's going to be the same thing as like with 50 Shades of Grey. Like, the book was a big deal for women and at the time, but by the time the movie came out, people were like, that was like last year.
Right.
Oh, no. So, yeah, maybe. It kind of
Tiger King is one of those things that
they kind of needed to strike while the iron was hot.
Yeah, it's like kind of lightning in a bottle, basically.
Like, if it was releasing now, I think it would crush.
Right. If it was right now, exactly. If the movie is out next week, then people.
What's not even a movie? It's going to be a series.
I think also too, just like when it was released, everybody was kind of going into quarantine, so they were kind of like watching more TV and. I don't know. Just
nothing better to do.
Nothing better to do, and I mean, to your point, Chris, that you made earlier about like, how is it that I'm in quarantine but I'm still busy as ever? That's it's kind of how I've found myself. It's just like I have all this time, but it's weird time. Like my work schedule is just like I go into work because I got a couple web orders, so I got to go in. I make some boxes. I come back home. I go on a walk with my kids. I come back. I got to do grading. There's another order or there's more shit to do around the house. And then by the time it's like, okay, put the kids to bed. And oh, by the way, get caught up on all of this web stuff. It's like an endless bicycle where my work day doesn't have a beginning or an end. It's just there.
Now, keep going.
The plus side is I've had all this time with my kids, as you've mentioned before, Chris, just being around your kids during this period of time has been great. But it sucks when I'm like on a Zoom meeting with like all my students all day long, and then by the time I do get away from the computer, I just feel like a zombie because I've just been sitting in front of the computer. So it's weird because I'm not getting to all of the things that I want to, so.
Right.
I will say, and just one, I know, Chris, we're going to have to end soon for you, but of the crazy things that you buy during this quarantine time, we've been playing a lot of board games with the kids, and so the other day when my wife went to the grocery store, we were talking about the Game of Life. So she bought the Game of Life, and it's like the newer version of the Game of Life where you can have pets or something like that. We played it, and we
did you go to college, or did you go straight for the workforce?
I played it both ways, but it's always better to go to college. You get a better paycheck unless you end up becoming like a fashion designer. So that has a better lower. Anyway, the newer Game of Life though, like my wife and I were like, this sucks. Like, and of course our kids.
Yeah, it does suck.
So
it's kind of like life.
So yeah, so she and and we sit around and we'll play with the kids and maybe we'll have a cocktail or two, as we did tonight before I started the podcast. So she ended up buying the original Game of Life through Target, the classic 1960s version or whatever. We got it today, and we're just loving it. Like my wife and I were just like, "This is awesome," and we're like living it up, and our kids are like, "This sucks."
It's funny because we played the same game. We had the same version I think you're referring to, kind of like one with the cartoony job career cards and all that stuff. And it was funny because when my daughter sucked at the game. Like it's all luck, right? So she just kept getting just drilled with taxes and fees, and then having to pay us for rolling our numbers and stuff.
Yeah,
and she was just getting so mad, and then she lost her job.
I know which part you're talking about. You can lose your job. There's like a card that pulls up and
she lost it. And I know this sounds so cruel and insensitive to be laughing about someone losing their job, especially in a time like now. So I do apologize in retrospect, but we're talking about the game of life. And I'm like, yeah, hey, that's life, dude. It sucks.
That's life.
Shit happens. So you got to prepare for this stuff. It's inevitable. But yes, so I actually did that night. I did a similar thing. I didn't go buy the other version of life, but that night I did go and buy the original version of Monopoly.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm gonna try and get some Monopoly games going on, which I actually ordered directly from Hasbro, which is like 20 minutes down the street from me, but it took 3 weeks to get. But
now you know the strategy, don't you, to buy to Monopoly, right? Where you win, but you're a complete dick.
Of course, but it's funny because I did buy like a original Monopoly, but it's definitely packaged for now, right? So I opened it up and I was looking at it, and it was like, here are the rules that you shouldn't do. This is what you shouldn't pay. Like when I grew up, we never played by the whole thing where you could auction off properties and stuff.
Yeah, right.
We never did that. And like when you play this game, you should do the auction because that will reduce your game time by X. I'm like, no way, we're gonna go fucking cut.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I had Monopoly on NES, and that was one of the greatest things. It's either NES or Super Nintendo. I can't remember which one, but that's what. So it automatically, if you passed on it, it automatically went to auction. And you're like, oh, this is awesome. And then there was different ways you could cheat on that one too. But I was just like, do you guys know the rule I'm talking about though? Like how to play it to where you win, but you're a dick. And it's basically you buy all once you get a Monopoly, once you get the 3 or properties, you just fill them up with hotels, with houses, but you never ever buy a motel ever, and that way. Never buy a hotel, because what you do is you're taking up all the houses, and so no one else can ever buy them. And that's the thing is that it's so because you run out of pieces, and so you're just a dick. Like you're just like, dude, why don't you put hotels? Like, because I don't want to surrender my houses back, and that's how you win. And it's like it's the biggest dick move, but you will win every time.
That's awesome.
So
I'm totally gonna do that.
We had one of these rainy days, and we were playing every game that we have in our house, right? And so we did. We got to Monopoly, Chris, and the way that we started it, there's a quick start version where you deal out like 2 properties, I think, each, just randomly, and it's a faster start. And with kids, I think it's better for them to start off with something. And so my son just happened to get Park Place right off the bat. And he ended up buying Boardwalk. And he did what Nick is talking about. He just bought up all of the houses. He bankrupted my wife. Yeah. Like I had to leave for work because, again, crazy work schedule. I got to go. I got to make this, kind of shit. So I give all my properties to my daughter. Like, good luck. And just like in the game of Monopoly or life, I had acquired 3 properties, Marvin Gardens, like the yellow properties, put houses on them, gave them
Ventnor Avenue.
Gave them to my daughter, but then she got bankrupted by my son, and he absolutely took it to the house. So, but fun games though to do while you're.
I'll tell you though, you just reminded me of one of my favorite memories of my dad. So when we were kids, we would play Monopoly on the kitchen, the living room table, or not living room. Sorry, the dining room table rather. And my dad was always like a cheesy dad joke guy. Like he's classic dad. So I feel like I'm following in his footsteps quite a bit with that too, which is great. But whenever we played Monopoly, every single time somebody landed on Marvin Gardens, he would sing the song by the Commodores. Like Marvin, you are a friend of mine. Every without fail, like every single time, multiple times in a match, whatever. But it's just one of my most fun memories. I always remember my dad.
Oh, that's sweet.
But yeah.
Now, did you guys play where like you land on the free parking and you get like whatever's in the middle, like money in the middle? Did you ever play like that?
Yeah, it's nice.
So funny you mentioned that, because in this read this before you fucking play the game rules that Hasbro sends out, it says that it's a bullshit rule. It doesn't actually exist in the real world.
Yeah. But it's nice. It's a nice little bonus though, because like all the taxes, all the stuff like that go in the center.
Oh, especially the tax, that property or that whatever that tax that you get right off the bat. Oh fuck, I hate that.
All that stuff goes right in the center, and then so you land on free parking. It's like
community and community chests and chance, all of that stuff that you have to pay for goes in the middle. And I don't know. I mean, screw Hasbro. What do they know?
Seriously,
make your own rules.
Yeah,
as long as you win. So
Hasbro makes that,
or Parker
Hasbro
Brothers.
Gaming.
Parker Brothers, yeah.
I thought it was Parker Brothers.
Oh, is it Parker Brothers?
It's Parker Brothers.
I bought it from Hasbro.
Oh, maybe
Hasbro.
Maybe it is Hasbro. But, the company.
I definitely remember Parker Brothers. So Monopoly is a Hasbro game. It looks like.
Oh, okay.
I win.
Yeah, see, I bought it from fucking Hasbro, right? Yeah, that's exactly what I bought right here. They also have a Cheaters edition.
Nice.
For those that like to commit adultery, or are you talking about cheaters like glasses cheaters? Sorry, nobody knows about cheaters glasses.
No.
Okay, yeah, I'm officially old because I refer to when you have to get bifocals or whatever, like people,
spectacles.
People call the other glasses cheaters because anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I got you. Yeah.
Trust me, once you get to 40 and you go to the eye doctor, they're always like, well, since you're 40 now, like they basically just look at your chart and they're like,
you're still here.
No, they're like,
okay.
They're checking for certain things with your eyes.
I've got an update for you.
Okay.
In 1991, Hasbro acquired Parker Brothers and thus Monopoly.
Oh, huh. Yeah. Okay.
Man, I remember I had on my Tandy 1000 EX desktop computer that our family bought from Radio Shack. We had a MS-DOS based, what is it, 5.25-inch disc or whatever game of Monopoly, and it was the best because you could just play on the computer and you wouldn't have to deal with the banking and all that type of stuff. And it was cutthroat rules. It was awesome. And that's how I learned how to play Monopoly, if I recall. I played so many games on that old MS-DOS based game, Monopoly. I'll have to see if I can find that, get an emulator for it.
By the way, you people in the chat, Sherry, Randy, you know what I'm talking about. You're mentioning cheaters here to me, so thank you. Thanks for backing me up. So,
there it is. Yes.
He's so stoked right now.
Oh my god!
I can play this 30-year-old game.
This is going to be an internet rabbit hole that he goes down like.
There, man.
This podcast.
It's an hour and 11-minute YouTube video of people playing it.
Sign me up.
By the way, for everybody that is in the chat, and Nick, we kind of discussed this. I don't think Jack really got the gist of what I was trying to suggest here.
He doesn't read the private chat. He does, but
he does, but he doesn't. He only reads the dirty comments I make. He never reads the actual like logistical things that I was trying to convey. But I was suggesting or floating the idea of having a bonus episode, a bonus live episode that I would share the link to everybody. It would be a different link. It could not be the same link. That way, Chris can have a good night's sleep.
He's not sleeping. He's going to play the video game now for like 2 hours.
I need to go to bed, but I did find an emulator that I can play it.
That was my timer, not a speed.
Honey, what are you doing? You're supposed to be in bed because you got to get up early in the morning. I'm playing this 1991 Monopoly game. I played as a kid. Shut up.
Oh my god, dude, this is so good.
You got that European call in the morning, honey.
I know.
You got the Euro car. So anyway, Nick, are you down with this bonus episode happening, Hell or High Water, or no?
I mean, yeah, I guess we could. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but sure.
I don't know either, but we just talked for the last couple minutes about board games, so
all right, guys, that's it for me. So, are you guys going to do an extra episode, or are you going to cut this one?
What I would do is I would just create a new one as opposed to going on with this, or because that way it would give Nick and I a break, and then I would post the link for the new show, and it would be a bonus episode on our bonus feed. Does that sound good to everybody?
Beautiful.
Yeah. Nick, are you down with this? Because I don't want to wrestle you into something that you don't.
Well, you're the fan favorite, so I figured you could be a one-man show.
Well, we're going to be back next week at our normal-ish time, right?
Yes, that's what you were saying. Your schedule is a little bit lighter next week.
Was this not normal time?
Well, we do 10 o'clock on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, but then we got this whole Survivors.
Right. So we started. To me, 7 o'clock is normal. Well, 9 o'clock is normal, but yeah.
Yeah, my mornings this week have been just batshit, and it's going to be like that for another few days. But next week I should be good.
Okay. For everyone that is in the chat, check out the Jay and Jack Facebook page, and I will post a new YouTube link. Miami Mike, I know you're not on Facebook. I don't even know how you get these links. Like, does Jack tweet them to you or something like that? Does he slip you?
Share the link on the Patreon. Oh, I will, Sherry. I gotta find it again. I just closed it out because I need to go to bed. But you're gonna make me do this again. MS DOS.
On that note,
MS DOS.
As Chris is looking that stuff up, if you do enjoy what we do on this show, and apparently you do because you've all joined us live, and I do sincerely appreciate that. For everyone that has, you can become a patron by going to jayandjack.com/patron. No, fuck, I already fucked this shit up. Just go to jayandjack.com, click on the patron link to become a patron. You can help us out by buying your Monopoly board game on Amazon by going to jayandjack.com/Amazon. You can send us an email at it's rcadcast@gmail.com. I almost fucked that up. You can rate and review us on iTunes, what have you. There are certain patrons that make this show possible. At this point, I would like to thank those patrons for making this show happen. I'm so lazy about changing up these names. I have it on a post-it note. So I apologize for not coming up with some new fun ones for this week. But I will say that Terrific Tack is still with us. Excellent Eckhart, marvelous Maggie, the ignanimous Ed, the letter carrier, jovial Joanne, and the greatest Greg of all time. Thank you for doing what you do. Thanks for making this show possible. We appreciate everything. And thank you again for all of the listeners in the chat for joining us. So we'll have a bonus episode this week, which we have been kind of not doing because we've had so many live shows. But why not? Because I'm all jazzed up. I've had all my Java juice.
See? That's what I'm saying. You had the White Russians first, and now you're all hopped up on death sticks.
I know. Now I need to bring it down again with some more alcohol. So, Chris, always a pleasure seeing you and hanging out with you.
It is. It's so good to see you guys.
So, always look forward to it. Uh-oh. We're losing Nick. Clear. All right. Great show, kids. This was 1 in 6,000.
Yeah, about that.
It was pretty good.
Not so bad.
Well, considering we had Jack for a short bit and a cameo by Jay. So.
And Call.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
All right, guys. I'm going to try and find I realized the one I was looking at was from 1995. I'm going to go back even further in time to find the one I used to play on my computer. So I will post that in the Patreon group as soon as I can find it.
See you on the flip side in another life and another YouTube feed. We'll start probably in about, I don't know, like 10, 15 minutes. So give us about that. All right. Take care.